What up, though? Welcome to another episode of Source and Company. I'm your host, Source, of course. As always, you can follow me on IG or Twitter at Smitty Source on both of those. Follow the page on the YouTube file. Well, subscribe to the Source and Company YouTube channel and the new IG page for the podcast, Source NCO Podcast. Source NCO Podcast. All right, enough of that. So today's company, if you are from the 804, you already know what it is. But, well, actually, across the country, you should know what it is for real. I ain't gonna take y'all back down memory lane too hard. We'll get into all that in a minute. But just know, we got an MC in the building. That's all I'm gonna say. We got an MC in the building. Straight out the 804. Big Sty. What up, bro?
What's happening, homie? Thank you for inviting me to this, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I see you doing some new things. You got some new things popping off, man. So
Yeah.
I saw the Motivation Monday joints that you were doing. Like, I think I saw the first one actually when you first started, and then kept it going the whole series. You know, that was been unexpected.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about that. Like, since we're here, what made you jump back in the ring and start them joints?
Well, even after, it's a problem, which we're gonna touch on. I always was recording, even if cats ain't never heard me or I didn't put anything out. It's just I'm a creative person. I have to create. I have to, that's my muse. I have to, continue to record. So I was always recording, but the Motivation Monday situation popped off after I came home from prison. I did a little bit in prison, and my mindset after that was in more of a positive space, which I'm in now. So I didn't want to come home glorifying the same street stuff that I was rapping about back then. Even though I was living it, now I'm in a different space. And it's like, I got to talk about, I almost gave up rap. I was like, either I'm going to quit rap or I got to do it in a more positive direction. I can't continue to do it the way I've been doing it. I still talk about street life and talk about it in a real way, but it's more to try to redirect the mindset and change the narrative a little bit, And so I don't curse no more. I don't use the N-word no more, but that's something I always practice every now and then anyway. Yeah, if you listen to them, ain't no curses on them, no N-word.
Life?
No. Well, the N-word I've been trying. The N-word I've been trying to get rid of, and yes, I do curse in life, like my regular conversations. Yeah, I do curse. And but the N-word has been a hard thing to get out my vocabulary. It's crazy, but I'm trying. But
Bruh,
on the music, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of it on the music though. Nah.
I'll just tell you, it's a couple years. Like, I've never been Lent. I've never been a Lent person, to give up something for how many days and all that. But one year, maybe like 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it since everybody doing it. I'm just trying to see what happens. But I couldn't think of nothing to give up. I said, you know what? I'm gonna give up the N-word.
Good. That's dope. Was it hard?
Bruh, it lasted for like, I can't remember if I made it 2 hours.
Right.
Yo.
It's hard, man. You'll be surprised how ingrained, once you get used to using it, how ingrained it can become in your vocabulary. It's just an instinct to you.
And it fits so many different things. Like,
yes.
But I did. I did it, and then I started myself over. Maybe made it a day or two. Did it again. Started myself over. Eventually, I stopped.
It's a process.
You said the cursing thing. I stopped cursing too. It kind of came around the same time. I want to curse on a regular basis. But I just try to,
I got you, man. Well, hey, man, I'm following your example. I'm trying, man. I'm trying, man. It is a process. It's definitely a process.
It is. Back. I didn't even cut my light on. I'm looking all. Let me get a little bam. There we go. Shining. Shine the light on.
Let's go.
Let's take it all the way back real quick. So you are originally from Richmond?
Yes, sir. Yep. 804 Southside all day.
Southside.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How how has Richmond changed over your years? I mean, you were here most of your time, right? I'm sure you had to bounce out around the after the
Oh
song.
yeah. In the late '90s, yeah, about around '98, I moved to New York and trying to get a record deal and all that. But yeah, I'm born and raised here. I've been here, and I've seen every wave of hip hop in Virginia. You know what I mean? I was born in 1970, so I've seen every wave that hip hop has gone through, and from the late '80s to the '90s when Skills and the Missies and everybody, and even now, and then early 2000s and the Super Friends and myself, and then even up to now. Um, but one thing I can say about the city is the tide is the energy is shifting to where they're supporting the local artists a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back in my day, they're actually local artists are selling out venues right now with just local artists. And back in my day, that never happened. You had to at least have a headline and a major artist to headline to sell out a venue, and a local artist will open up for them. Now it's just local events with local artists, and they selling out. And that within itself is the energy we need, because that's the only way. Because once, like I tell people all the time, for Virginia or Richmond to be a power structure in hip hop, like in Atlanta or New York or Houston or LA, the infrastructure has to have that support system within it. You know what I mean? From the fans. Once the people in the city start to support the artists, then the DJs are gonna have to follow suit and start playing these artists in the clubs. And the radio stations are gonna have to follow suit and start playing, giving them some airplay. That's how it happened in every one of those major cities. You know what I mean? Once that infrastructure starts to build, and that energy and the support and love for the artists here starts to gain that momentum, then you start to see, more of the like industry people taking notice and wanting to come and, be involved when they see that there's something there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But when they don't
Absolutely.
have, when you get these execs coming to your city and they don't even hear local artists on the radio or hear local artists in the club, and nobody's bigging up local artists, and it's like, well, what's the point of me if y'all not supporting each other? What's the point of me investing in you? You
Yeah,
know?
that's how it was for a long time. Thankfully, for a lot of art,
Yeah.
the the internet has allowed for more visibility and opportunity just to be seen and heard. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah,
And part of it, that might be what actually changed in the city because yeah, it was hard
it is. I agree.
shows pop off.
Because now your options are limited, and no different from me, because even that right now, if I was to try to go and get it on the radio, I would still face a lot of the same obstacles, you know what I mean? But now I can sit in my laptop and hit thousands of people with, you know what I mean? So it has opened up a lot of artists to have that opportunity and create their own platform without having to wait for a radio DJ or club DJ to give them some love.
For
So
sure,
yeah,
for
it
sure.
has opened a lot of doors.
So, uh, only child, siblings.
Oh no, no, no. I'm the youngest of three sons.
Oh,
So
her.
yeah, grew up two-parent household. Um, a great family structure. My mom, father still together. Um, I didn't have that typical, my pops weren't there, and life was hard type story. I didn't have that.
Right.
So it's nothing that I could rap about. The things I went through were of my own design, of my own decisions. The things I went through in the streets and going out there doing what I wanted to do. That was my decision. It wasn't because of the foundation I came from. But thankfully, I had that foundation. So when I got my mind right, it was there for me. It was already laid. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I could come back to it. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. What school did you graduate from high school?
Yeah, yeah. I went
I mean,
to Georgia. Well,
I
I
don't like
graduated
to.
from Georgia.
I don't like to assume.
Hmm.
Usually assume. I don't like to assume.
Oh
But
no. I get it. I get it. Yeah, no, definitely. I graduated. Went to Georgia with high school, and I went to J. Sergeant Reynolds for a couple of years, but just wasn't for me. I couldn't. I didn't know at the time what I wanted to do, so it was like wasting money to continue to try to go, with no real vision of what I wanted to do.
understood. So eventually, now 2000. Well, I won't. We won't jump all the way to 2004, but 2004 was the big moment, the biggest moment, I should say, leading up. 2004 was the jump off.
Yeah,
Before 2004, you said you moved to New York and you were already running.
right, right.
What happened in that time frame that led up to 2004? Because some people may not know.
I'm glad you, right. I'm glad you mentioned the New York thing because all of those experiences led up to It's a Problem and me doing that record. I moved to New York, and if you come from that era, you remember that hip hop was real segregated. You know what I mean? If you came from a certain area, they expected you to sound a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate these youngsters now because they don't have those same biases. You know, they don't care where you're from as long as music's hot. Now, when I went up there, like I said, it was 98. I'm from Virginia. We were going to, bouncing around to different labels and shopping demos. Everybody loved the music. Everybody loved the way I rap. But the biggest problem was they didn't understand how to market me because in 98, Master P was the hottest thing out. And being from the South, they expected me to sound like that. So it was boggling my mind. Like, so you telling me, yeah, my music hot, you like the way I spit, but we don't know what to do with you because technically you're supposed to sound like this. It's like, first of all, did y'all forget Mad Skills came out, in what, 95,
Right.
and he's from Virginia and he was spitting no different. So it was like bugging me out. And and it would be very disrespectful, man, and like I even had one A&R said, don't nobody care what, don't nobody give a, I mean, he used choice words, but he was like, don't nobody give a F about Virginia no way. I felt like jumping across the table, punching him in his face. It's like, yo,
Right.
man, how do you, but it's amazes me the mentality, the small-mindedness of the industry at that time. Because even with the East Coast, West Coast thing, I didn't subscribe to that because I was from Virginia. So when I go to New York, they treated me no different from somebody from the West. They didn't have the same love for us. I didn't see it. You know what I mean? So, and then I remember also when I was in New York around that time when Master P was blowing up, DJs on the radio on Hot 97 said, we'll never play that. We'll never, nah, this New York, we never play, you know what I mean? So it was just boggled my mind, you know what I mean, how things have changed, but how weird that was. I mean, music should be music. If it's good, it shouldn't matter where you're from or what region you're from. You shouldn't restrict you to a certain sound. But that's how the industry was back then.
You know what though? When you put it that way, New York, New York is the white people. New York to hip hop is white people to America. We are not giving up
Yeah,
our
yeah.
strength.
They having a yes. Yo, man, you put
Said.
it in perfect. It's like a white supremacist attitude because they created hip hop, and yes, we know that, and we pay homage to that. But hip hop doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to the world, and every region is going to define it in their own way and create it and create their sound their own way. You can't restrict or dictate none of that. You know what I mean? So that's just what it is, man.
As one
But
of
yeah,
my
it
favorites,
was weird, man. It was weird back then.
as one of my favorites said at the Source Awards that infamous year, the South got something to say, and that's what it was.
Yes,
And plus, Virginia,
exactly.
we're in the middle. Like we're not like I
We
said,
take we a
we're
melting
not
pot.
all the way south. We're not north. So we kind of like
Right, right.
I
We
think
right there. We're mid-Atlantic, if you want to be technical, we're a mid-Atlantic state, but yeah, we absorbed everything. You know what I mean? I wasn't, like I said, I knew a lot of dudes that was like, I'm never listening to West Coast music. I'm like, yo, you sound crazy. You
Yeah.
know, well, you gonna stop listening to a certain music, them dudes ain't do nothing to you.
At
You
all.
know what I'm saying? So it's just weird to me, man. I would bump Dre and Tupac just as well as I would bump Mobb Deep and Biggie. You know what I mean? It wasn't no difference to me. If it was good music, it was good music. And that's all I live for. You know what I mean?
So did that type of treatment from New York lead to the it's a problem? Where you just
It
fed?
led to more of it wasn't, yeah, I mean, but it wasn't my fed up. My attitude, the anger wasn't just that New. It was the once you see the whole how this whole industry is run, it wasn't just particularly New York, but it was just the industry as a whole. And I moved back to Virginia in 2000, what was it 2001, and one morning, like I was doing my thing. We were still getting some local play, right? And my manager had hit me one day and it's like, "Hey, I want you to get on. I got a spot for you on K Slade next mixtape." And back then, being on a major DJ's mixtape kind of meant something.
Absolutely.
So he was like, "Just do something that's gonna, shake him up." So I was like, "All right," I got the track from him. And literally, like I said at the beginning of the song, when I say I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, I woke up in a bad mood that morning. And this is back when TRL was popping. So I'm watching TRL and excuse me, and what was it, Ja Rule and Nelly and all the like pop rappers was, going up. And
Hmm.
I'm over here getting angry and irritated, like, yo, I'm better than all these dudes. So I popped the track in and I just start rapping some of the bars. And by the time I got to like 8 bars, I was like, hold up, I think I got something, right? So I called my manager and I spit it for him over the phone. He was like, yo, that's crazy. He was like, yo, he called his brother, three-way them in, and I spit it for him, and they was like, both, yeah, you got to finish that. You got to finish it. So I finished it that day and recorded it the next night. And within 3 days after me coming up with the rhyme, Lonnie B played it. Lonnie B didn't want to play it. Because Lonnie B, matter of fact, the dude's house, I recorded it at Franklin Roberts. Shout out to Franklin Roberts and Lonnie B. Both of them were like, yo, man, you can't put this record out. And at the time, man, listen, I was on some, yo, man, listen,
Hey, the
I
song
ain't
is
care nothing about
real
nothing.
disrespectful. Just for the record,
Yo, and that's how I felt.
no, the song is like reckless. It's reckless. The song is reckless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so both of them were scared. They was like, look, man, not scared, but scared for me.
Right.
Like, look, man, this dangerous record, dude. And I was like, and Lonnie didn't want to play it on the air, but then he saw how adamant I was, and he was like, yo, you know what? If you feel that strongly about it, he's like, maybe the culture need to hear this. He's like, you're right. So he played it, and that next week, Foot and That played it, and it blew up. I mean, the phone lines was going crazy, and the following week, I was getting calls from everybody. I mean, literally within 2 weeks, I mean, the whole industry was like knew this record. I was getting calls from record labels, promoters wanting to book me. I'm gone. It's gone. I mean, it was one of those stories you hear, like fairy tale stories, like, yo, it happened overnight. You know what I mean? That record, now my career didn't happen overnight, but that
Right.
record literally took off overnight.
I
It
remember
was crazy.
I remember you being I think you were in New York, and they were kind of questioning you, like, if you run
Yeah.
these rappers, like, what is it gonna be?
Yeah, I mean, that was weird. Like, yo, what kind of question is that? Like, I mean, how am I supposed to answer that? I mean,
Right.
I mean, but so I mean, what do you? I never understood that question. Like, yo, you run. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna say what's up. I mean, what do you want me to say? You want me? You want me to jack him up in the corner, be like, yo, what's up, dog? I'm the dude. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
what do you want me? I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up? And I'm gonna tell you who I am. You know what's up? And that's what I did. That's one thing I can actually say when I was on the road, because I didn't have any videos or anything, right? So nobody really knew what I looked like unless you saw the double XL issue I was in. So when we were on the road, we would always it will always be artists that I talked about around, like in the venue. I remember at the Radio Music Awards, Jadakiss and a few other cats was out there, and I would walk up to them and shake their hand like, yo, what's up? And I'm assuming they probably thought I was a fan or something, you know what I mean? And I would let them know, like, yo, I'm Big Sty. And then, they'd be like, whoa, you the dude. And I'd be like, yeah, man. And it'd be all love, man, because I don't have no personal beef with these dudes. It's one thing if I had personal beef with somebody. I didn't have no personal beef with nobody that I dissed on this record. So, but at the same time, I know I said some disrespectful stuff. So I'm not going to put myself in a position to where somebody, like, oh, well, yo, Sty talking about it. He was here, but he ain't come up to me or he ain't say, oh, first of all, I ain't coming up to me on the tough guy stuff, but at the end of the day, I know what I said. So we got to approach the situation and see how you feel about it. But most of the rappers, no, I ain't gonna say most, all of the rappers that I actually talked to that I said something about, they love the record. They was like, yo, that joint was hard. I mean, one of my producers was in the studio with Nas, and Nas told him to tell me, like, yo, he loved the record, the joint was hard. You know what I mean? So, I think the fans get a misconception, you know what I mean? A lot of times with this thing, it wasn't personal. I didn't say I'm gonna shoot somebody mama or rape their girlfriend, you know what I mean? I just did lyrical. I just took everything I knew about you and flipped it, and that's all it was. I think what really caught people more than anything, of course, is that last line, and I think people misunderstood my intention with it. And, and I still stand by my intention with it. It wasn't I didn't see it as disrespect, you know what I mean? Like, my whole thing was, like I said, like I said this on many interviews, when people say, like, if you eat some good barbecue and somebody say this barbecue so good made me want to smack my mama. You're not going to smack your mama, but you're saying that to show, like, this person that I love so much, this barbecue is so good, I would smack the person I love so much to prove it to you.
Right.
And that was my intention behind the line. Like, after all I've been through, I feel like digging a Big and Pac saying F them too. Like, I would actually say F you to the two artists that I idolize the most in this game to show you how frustrated I am at the game. You know what I mean? That was the mindset. But people, that's one good thing. That's the thing about art. You can't predict how people are going to interpret what you do. So,
Absolutely.
But
so that record
is what it is.
Set you on a course, man. Had everybody, like you said, knocking at your door. What made you go the route you went? What? Because it had to be a selling point. Like, everybody had artists.
Yeah.
But what was the selling point that made you go that way? Rap a lot, that is.
Well, we had four majors. We had Rap a Lot, Death Row, Sony, and Universal. Sony backed out early. Universal we met with, and they were with it. But at that time, Universal had 3 heads over there. And 2 of the people were like, gave it a green light, all right, let's go. And then one person didn't. And I think they said the reason being because all the artists that were under their umbrella were people I was listening, and they ain't want no problems. You got to remember, this is on the heels of Get Rich or Die Trying. 50 was on top, and everybody knew the drama that was going on through that. So I think people just kind of got cold feet and scared. And Suge was locked up, and then Suge history kind of made me like, I don't really want to go through a whole bunch of that. And then Jay Prince was just so. Jay Prince is Jay Prince. You know what I mean? He was just such a cool dude about the whole situation. So, and the freedom that he was allowing us to have was something that we were interested in. You know what I mean? And so, we rolled that route.
Now, I mean, everybody doesn't know Jay Prince like that, and I ain't trying to act like I know Jay Prince like that, but I do know
right
that there is
right.
Like, I'm not saying Jay Prince is Suge, but I'm saying Jay Prince ain't no snitch in these streets.
Oh no.
And
oh no. Matter of fact, if you want to go that route, Jay Prince is way above Suge on that level. Man, don't nobody want problems with Jay Prince. Now I ain't
Even
even
to this
talking about
day.
that part.
But
Yeah,
even
now
to this day,
literally
you
to this
mentioned
day.
when you mentioned the Drake joint, the Drake and is it Drake and Pusha? Was it Drake?
Yeah,
Right. Even to this,
yeah, Pusha T. Yeah,
he still has that pull.
yeah, without question, man. Without question. Yeah, I talked to him around that time, man. Yeah, he had hit me up, man. But yo, Jay is, I mean, but he always kept it 100, man. Like even when we came to a point where it didn't seem like the we were seeing eye to eye on how things should move. You know, he was a G about it. He was like, look, Sty, I don't want to handcuff nobody in a situation they don't want to be in. You know, and at that time he was working on the last Ghetto Boy record, and he asked me to, you know, do some writing for Bush on that joint. And I did some verses. He paid us, and it was all love. I mean, it won't know. And to this day, it's all love. You know, if I go out there tomorrow, you know, they're gonna show love. And shout out to Jazz. You know, I got to be cool with his sons too. They real cool dudes. You know what I mean? But nah, the whole squad is dope. And Rap Elite is real cool, man.
Word, word. So did you actually did you move out that way at any point?
No. Everybody kind of thought that, but nah, I didn't move out there. We just did a lot. Texas is like my biggest market. You know what I mean? So I got so much love out there. It's crazy, but nah, I never moved out there. No.
Hmm. So you turned the "It's a Problem" single into a deal through Rap Elite.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I mean the simple question is what happened in that time frame. I guess.
We got out of that. Yeah, I mean, at that time, after that, we went independent. I ended up dropping a record called Psychology in 2005, and that joint did pretty good. And from that point, I got honestly, I got more heavy in the streets, and you know, got back into that, and you know, got sidetracked. But I was still recording, and like I said, I always was recording. I never stopped that. And then, yeah, man, then things, you know, took a turn. Had to do a little time, and here
How,
we are
if
now.
you don't mind me
Motivation
asking?
Monday. Hmm.
How long, if you don't
Hmm.
mind me asking?
I did two. I did 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah.
So when you touch back down, was it different? Was the atmosphere different as far as the music? Were you even thinking about music? Were you just thinking about touching this pavement?
Um, I'm always thinking about music, yo. But the atmosphere was, I mean, it was all love. I mean, as far as me personally, the love I always got the love in the streets, but the atmosphere and the music is definitely different. Yeah. But it's a good balance out here now because you got a few different levels. You got your MCs and your spitters, and they get love over here, and you got your trappers and your, you know what I mean, the more contemporary type hip hop that you hearing now on the radio, and they getting love here. So it's a good balance. It's not one sided like it used to be at one time. Because at one time it was everybody was trying to sound more Jeezy and you know that type of flavor.
Right.
Now you got a good balance right now, and it's working, and it's something for everybody in the city. So it's a beautiful balance right now.
Now you mentioned briefly that you were born in '70. Being born in '70
Yeah.
puts you at the
Mm-hmm.
age of 50.
50. Yeah, I'm 50. Yeah, absolutely.
How does that play any role in
It
your
doesn't. It never. Age never meant anything to me. Like even when I was a young dude, you know, it was like I said, it's all about the music for me. If it's good, it's good. And I think right now I'm kind of proving that because it's crazy because I'm getting calls from a lot of young cats that want me to get on their records. You know, it's bugging me out. Because for one, I mean, I'm talking about like street cats, like you know what I mean, like dudes doing trap music and all that. And it's like, for one, I'm doing more positive records. I don't curse. I don't, you know what I mean, all that. And they see that and they respect that. But for two, yeah, like you said, I'm 50. You know what I mean? But one thing about it is I own it, you know, and I mention that in my music. I talk about my age constantly, you know, and I'm not shy away from it because, back in the day, the labels will always tell you, man, don't tell your age, or, you know what I mean? They want you to take 7 years off your age and all this stuff. But I put my age out there, and that's something I learned from NWA and Biggie Smalls. If you take what people view as a handicap and you use it to empower yourself, people gonna respect you. You know what I mean? Like when Biggie said black and ugly as ever. However, that was the turning point for me with everybody, I think, with him. When you own that, you know what I mean? And NWA, just with their name, you know, when you own it and say, yo, I'm not going to take this as a handicap. You know, I'm going to use this as, yo, empowering myself. And as long as you know how to use it and do it and make it entertaining at the same time, people respect that. You know, I don't shy away from it. You know, only thing I might do is I color my, you know, my hair a little something.
You still got a line,
you know
though.
I mean? Hey, man, listen, this is all white, so I ain't going to, but I do color it. Yes, I do. You know what I mean? I like, hey, man, I'm gonna keep it a whole 100 with everybody. Look, I don't fake about nothing. Yes, I do color all this.
I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't mad at you.
Yes,
Thought about it myself. I ain't really think about it.
It's all good. It's all good.
But it is. So speaking
Exactly.
of youngins, younger rappers,
yeah.
There is a movement in the city called RBA Rap Elite, where I mean, it's a movement across the country. Battle rap is a thing. No music, you know. A lot of times,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Colors and face to face, and you hear every bar. It's like snapping.
Right.
It's like snapping and it's rhyming.
Yeah.
So RBA,
it ain't nothing but the dozens. It's the dozens all over again.
Exactly. So RBA Rap Elite is the hottest joint in this area for real. And you were invited to participate. Bruh, let me tell you, when I saw this video, my feelings was hurt. I wasn't even one of the rappers. My feelings was hurt for the other rappers. Why did you do them?
Listen, okay. Well, first, Radio B, shout out to Radio B and the whole Rap Elite squad, man. Yo, them dudes showed me love, right? So Radio B had hit me up to do an actual solo performance, which I did. And so I told him, yeah, I would be on it, you know. And then I think that next week, my man Illa Styles, shout out to Illa Styles, he asked me to be a part of the 5-man battle, 5-man team battle. And like I said, when he asked me, honestly, like I said, I hadn't did a battle in about 20 years. So I was like, hold up. I said, well, I expressed that to him. I said, dude, I ain't battling. He's like, but he had been watching the Motivation Mondays. So he was like, your pin game is still sharp. So I was like, it's like, I don't know, let me think about it. And so I hit him back and I was like, well, what do I have to do? Because battles is different. Like you said, it's just different now. Because back in the day, you would go in a battle, you didn't know who you was battling, you just had to have some bars, you know what I mean? So he was like, nah, so this is how it works. We give you a track, they already got the track, you write one verse, however long you want it to be, and, you know, you just part of the team. When it's your turn, you spit your joint, and that's it. I said, hold up, so you giving me a whole month to prepare for this? I said, oh man, this is crazy. I said, yo, I have never had that before. Like in my battle days, you ain't had time to prepare like that. So, and it was so crazy. I called my homegirl, the Lady of Rage, and I told her about it. She was like, yo, so they're giving you a whole month? I said, yeah. She's like, that's crazy. She was bugging off of it too. And so I said, yeah, I'm cool with that. So I wrote it, but this is the thing. Everybody say, why I do them like that. I don't know no other way to battle. It's no nice. This is a battle. That's why they call it a battle. It's no nice guys. We just like when you step in the ring to box. You in there to win. So afterwards, y'all can dap up, you know, and everybody bloody and got the, you know, the swollen eye. But yo, we in here for a purpose. So yeah, I don't know no other way. So I just studied everybody and did my research, and you know, hey man, I'm glad everybody enjoyed it.
Mass destruction. I appreciate it.
Hey, man.
Kill them young boys.
Hey man, it's all love, man. I don't know no other way to go, man. I'm sorry.
Respect. So of course we're in the city, 804. Um, a lot has popped off in the last few months. Obviously, after the George Floyd death, the city has
Yeah.
fire for real, like literally on fire and figuratively on
Yeah.
fire, especially around
Right.
the monuments. So of course there's beef on a regular basis. Uh, Protesters versus police, protesters versus counter protesters, all that. You kind of felt some type of way about the whole situation and turned it into a song.
Yeah.
Talk to me about three
I had
K.
been touching on this subject ever since. That's another thing. Ever since I came back, even on the Motivation Mondays, I would touch on these racial subjects because I saw it bubbling. And because I have another song called "Wake Up Call" that I put out before I did 3Ks, and it was I was just letting everybody know it's in the air and it's getting worse. And so then when George Floyd and everything happened and monuments, it just set the same energy back. Like, where do we fit in this country? You know what I mean? And our lineage, we're still going through a lot. Maybe not as, definitely not as bad as our forefathers and our great 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 grandfathers, but we're still being terrorized in this country. And we have to start labeling it as it is. Yo, we are terrorized in this country on a constant basis, and it's almost crazy because we're so used to a lot of these things, we become numb to a lot of situations.
Absolutely.
And it takes a drastic act because, I mean, this should have happened back with Trayvon Martin. It should have happened back with Rodney King. We constantly get used to and numb to the situation when you're in it, and then the statues that should have been came down. That should have never went up. Like, but we are in this, and when you're raised in it and you're taught in schools about the wrong information in schools about it, and now you going around looking at it, yeah, it's kind of crazy that you wake up one day and be like, yeah, why is this up? You know, this is psychological oppression. So you're gonna put a symbol of hate in front of me, and you're gonna praise and celebrate it, and then look at me crazy when I say no. This is not something to be celebrated. And I always liken it to people, like when people start talking about heritage, and I'm like, well, explain to me how you think a Jewish person would feel if they walked in Germany and see a monument for Hitler. It's the equivalent to what we feel when we see these statues up. Tell me, there is absolutely no difference. These people fought to keep people like me enslaved. There's no, I don't want to hear, don't try to whitewash it and say, well, no, the Civil War was fought over the economy. We were the economy.
Exactly.
We were the economy. And then after they won the war, after America won the war, they still paid those farmers reparations for losing property.
Property.
So where did they lose? They still got reparations for losing property, which is us. It's crazy, man. So yeah, man, people need to start. We need to start educating ourselves a lot more. And thankfully, we're in the education era, so we have the means to do that. But in to take it a step further, we have to stop focusing on the inconsequential things when it comes to the bottom line of what we're dealing with here. Because right now, again, it's distract and calm down. Now they're distracting us. The initial fight was for police brutality. Now we're getting distracted with monuments and ancient mamas and all of these situations with relabeling. But let's not stay unfocused to what the real situation is here. We have to change the laws and legislation out here that are oppressing us. So that means stop worrying about the presidency. Go vote for the president. That's fine. But the real laws and legislation are being changed in the House and Senate. You have to vote your congressmen and those senators out of office who are backing laws and legislation that are continuing to oppress us. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that need to be done. Prison reform, all of these things need to be done. We're constantly stuck in the mud, and we keep getting distracted by dumb shit.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. So you got the 3Ks joint. Actually, where can they check out the 3Ks joint?
They can check that out. Oh, you know what? I don't think I put 3Ks up, but it's gonna be on the album I'm dropping at the end of this month called Shoot Till You Run Out of Niggas. So that's gonna be on there.
Is Believe in Yourself on that joint as well?
Yes. Believe in Yourself is gonna be on there as well. Yep.
Believe in Yourself. That's the whole opposite. Well, not the opposite, but that is a positive, lighter version of
right.
the same thing.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's the balance. It's having a balance. You know, I have to talk about the bad, but I also have to show the good as well. You know what I mean? We can't. I don't live in one frame of mind all day. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us do. So, but yeah, as much as I want to expose the dumbness and the hypocrisy that we go through, I also have to talk about the beauty that we experience and share with each other. And that song was inspired by the birth of my granddaughter, you know, because this year has been so crazy. So when she was born, it was just like, wow, you know, it just gave me a sense of hope, and you know what I mean. So I wanted to share that in music, you know.
When was she born? What month?
In June.
June. How was
yeah.
that? As far as the hospital, going to the hospital, and even being allowed, were you even allowed to go to the hospital?
I wasn't, and totally. I'm being totally honest with you. She was a surprise. My son didn't tell me about her. He didn't tell me she was on the way. I just got a call one day and said, "Hey, you're a granddad." I was like, "Whoa, okay," but that made it even more of a shot of hope at the same time. You know, you didn't have time to prepare for none of this, so it just hits you, and you like, wow. So it made me feel that euphoric feeling. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know what they did, but I know now. You know, of course, she's here, so she has to have doctor's appointments and things like that. So I think they're very delicate about how they take care of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah, it's tough. Just from watching people pass and not be able to have a funeral, or have very few people at the funeral, to weddings, to birth a child, same thing. So it's a whole new world. Have you been coping as far as being out or dealing with other people, social distancing, all that type of stuff?
Man, listen, I'm not playing. I'm masked up everywhere I go. Listen, man, look, I lost a cousin to this.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't go to his funeral. So, you know, everybody got some conspiracy theories. And listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. I know people are dying, and I'm gonna do what I have to do to protect myself. Also, I have a wife who's recovering from cancer, and her immune system is not as strong as any of ours in this house. So it's like, yo, I'm not going to put any of my family or anybody I love at risk, you know, just to see what can happen, you know. And there's a lot of people out here just walking around thinking nothing can happen. And it's like, I'd rather be prepared. You know what I mean? I'd rather be prepared.
As Red Man said, everybody in this mother can get touched, and that's real.
That's right, man. It's crazy. I'm tripping like, yo, people walking, everybody walking around like they're expert. I'm like, yo, what medical school did you graduate from that makes you feel like, you know, hey, I'm a expert in this field. Like, come on, man. Yo, the doctors and the experts are telling you put on a mask. Yo, put on a mask. You know what I mean? It's simple.
You got people telling you that you shouldn't trust the experts, and everything becomes, it's not even medical. It turns into political, and they're trying to take the situation, turn it into, you know, something for themselves. It's kind of crazy on that level as well.
Right. Right. My thing is, Muslim women in other countries do it every day, and they ain't complaining.
That is very true. That is very true. And people,
you know what I mean? So
in other countries have to do it a lot of times as well with the mask. I know I've seen over the years,
Yeah.
different
I
countries.
mean, but American, but there we go. There we go with that American mindset. You can't take away my rights. I'm an American. Yo, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do your thing.
That's how we do.
My thing is, I don't mind. The thing about it for me is, if you want to risk your life, go right ahead. But don't sit here and criticize me for protecting mine.
Right.
And it's crazy, like the ones that don't want to wear a mask want to criticize those that do. It's like, dude, don't worry about what I'm doing. You don't want to wear it, go ahead. But don't sit over here and chastise and judge me and belittle me because, you're a pawn or whatever. Listen, man. Let me do this. Let me do me. You know, I don't tell you what color shoes to wear or what color hat to put on. Don't tell me what to put on my face. You know.
100, 100. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up with you, brother. Tell me about that album a little bit, though. You say you got the joint dropping at the end of the month.
Yes, sir. Shoot till you run out of neighbors. It's be dropping at the end of the month, and the title is metaphoric, and it basically stands for, just as long as you continue to be true to yourself, those fake people and those haters are going to eventually start to distance themselves from you. You know what I mean? Because people can only fake it for so long, and there's always going to be certain people that are going to try to infiltrate your circle. You know what I mean? But as long as you stay true to yourself, those who are there for you will stay in by you, and those who aren't will slowly start to divide themselves. And that's just how I live my life, man. But I don't have a tentative date, but I know it's gonna be at the end of this month. You know, there's a lot of jewels on there, a lot of jewels.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Let the people know where they can contact you, follow you, reach you, and all that good stuff.
You can hit me up on Big Sty 804 on Instagram or Sty Lynch on Facebook. And also, I'm gonna be starting the Motivation Mondays back up too. So,
Season
stay
2.
tuned for that. Yes, sir.
Word up. I definitely appreciate you taking the time, Sty. Yeah, we got into some good stuff. So we're looking forward to the album. And yeah, Richmond in the house, 804, Big Sty. Source.
My man, thanks for having me, dog.
No doubt.
Yes, sir.